Welcome to Sabor Astrology with T and Shay, a podcast for the soul. Today, we'll be talking about how to balance life with the current cosmic energies. And without further ado, I'd love to pass la taza to T for the transits of the week. Welcome, T.
Thank you, Shay. Good morning, everyone. Or good day, good evening, whatever it happens to be when you listen to this or watch this. So we have several transits that we're going to talk about this week. And the first thing that we're going to introduce is the new moon at 21 degrees of Virgo, which is happening on the 14th. So, different people do different things at the time of the new moon. I always believe that, the 3 days before and the 3 days after the new moon, it's a time to reflect on what you might want to manifest within the coming month, right? It's the beginning of a new cycle. And I don't mean that it for myself, how I go by it is I don't think that it's time to start creating a vision board or planting seeds because you're still in the dark. But have these thoughts, take this time to just be and let these thoughts start to brew inside of you in whatever area of your body you brew the work that you're going to be doing, that you brew the the joys, the work, whatever it is that you want to manifest. It's a great time to just be. And because it's in Virgo, we're thinking about our health. We're thinking about our routine, our daily practices, and also our pets, right? Small pets, like how we co-create our lives with those around us in the sixth house, which is the house of Virgo, which is also of illness, not so much as health. That's the whole other going down a rabbit hole that we don't need to go down here. But so it might be hard for this Virgin energy to just sit still and be quiet, take things as they are, and start the planning process, because Virgo likes to do, right? That's the energy. It's always doing something, it's always creating something, and the Virgo energy is very hard pressed to get things done and to get things done the right way. So just by sitting, it may be difficult for some people. But remember that the dark is such a nurturing place. The dark is like, think of the womb. Okay, it's a place for regeneration, renewal. It's a place for redoing, right? What have I done last month? What am I still going to work on? Or maybe I don't want to work on it anymore. So Mercury's still in retrograde, although on the 15th, right? This new moon in Virgo is the 14th. It's all kind of like, it's not like, on the 15th that, midnight, suddenly we turn into a new thing, right? It's planets, it's transits, it's time. So and it's going to be going direct, and Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So my thoughts are just kind of like, hold off, chill, enjoy, let it happen. And you are letting it happen. But I don't know, I think about all those times when I don't feel like I'm getting anything done, right? I'm not writing a new story, I'm not doing whatever it is that I create. And then later on I think, oh wow, I needed that time for those ideas to ferment in my brain, right? I needed that time to get more information before I go into the new thing. I've just completed a short story, but I'm doing something this afternoon, and I realized, oh my goodness, the thing I'm doing this afternoon, I have to stick it into that short story, like in a different way. Like, it's totally not related to what I'm doing this afternoon, but somehow I thought I was done. But I needed to be in just be phase, right? Just be, not making it happen, allowing things to be as they are. So that's what I have to say.
I love the word creative. That was such a powerful word that I picked out your words of wisdom, T, because this new moon on the 14th will bring some aspect of creativity for us, maybe changing our routines in a creative way. This moon brings almost like a sigh of relief for all of us, and especially because we've been digging a lot in our subconscious mind, and things that have kind of happened in the past months with, especially with Venus being retrograde, that we need space to breathe, and this new moon will bring that. And I love the aspect of T bringing in silence. Let this time, this space of emptiness, bring in some air for all of us to breathe in new creative energies, to change up our routine, to take care of ourselves, and whatever health conditions we have, or whatever we're going through in health, wellness, to focus on that through a creative outlet. Creative energy with this new moon brings in this creative collaboration that we can kind of be wrapped around and comfortable around. So think about where in your routines or where in your health, what can you bring in that's creative? What can you bring in that's refreshing? This new moon, I definitely feel it has a feel me good energy to it. So bask in it. And like T mentioned, just allow silence to come in, allow yourself to let the beams of the new moon wash over you and see what comes through. I think it'll be beautiful.
I love that image of let the beams of the new moon wash over you. Because when we think about the new moon, it's dark, right? And so we're not seeing the light emanate, but the light is still there. The light is still coming. And it gives such a sense. What I received from what you just said was giving this like over sense of trust and like surrendering, and giving trust to the moon that the light is still shining, even though we don't see it, right? So thank you for that. I love that.
Absolutely.
Really helpful. So then Mercury stations direct on the 15th. And as we know, we always need to give Mercury a couple of days, a few days to settle, where it's less tricky, it's less quirky, and it's emanation of self. And the clear-cut thought, communication patterns, they'll be soon within our grasp. But also know that Mercury is really fast and that all of us have that electric thought pattern, right? So we all plod in a different way. I plod, I'm slow. It could be my Taurian nature. There are other, Virgo may be like, I'm on this, we're all different. So how it affects you. So this is why it's so cool if you, journal like what's going on here, because then you get to know yourself under that particular transit. I think it's always prudent to keep a methodical way of doing things, keep a routine, make a list, fill up your date book. That's what they're there for. I keep thinking about journaling, and Shay, you bring up journaling often, that there are different parts on those pages. Some of them are for making dates. Some of them are for writing goals. Some of those, different places are for making your lists or writing what transits you are in. So, be creative and, draw little pictures if you need to, if that's how you do this. So that you can use our podcast as a guide, right? What's going on? Gonna write that down. And then, once you start getting to know yourself a little bit more in transits, for those of you who aren't as familiar, then when we say things like Venus is conjunct Uranus, oh my God, Uranus, like, what does that mean? Right? Freak out. Like, you don't have to, because, you're doing the homework as you go along. Because as intuitive astrologers, we're feeling it. We're feeling it. We're feeling the energy. It's coinciding with what we're doing. It's not just about reading a position of how we believe the stars are lined up in the sky and the planets are up in the sky.
Beautiful. I love that, team. You bring in the feminine into our astrology, which is the intuitive, which is great. With this Mercury stations direct, I mean, I'm cheering for all of us. Woo-hoo, like we are almost there. A lot has happened for all of us in different ways, right? We're finally out of the shadows of Mercury. And what I mean by the shadows, we're out of the inner work and now we're out into the outer work. And with all those lessons and things we've gained and wisdom we've gained through the retrograde, It's about now, how are we going to put it into form out into the world? And if many of you know, I always say this is the inner work to the outer work, and that's what we're on this journey to do. So this Mercury retrograde, think about your own lessons that you've gained or new information and knowledge. Collectively, we're offered an opportunity to polish our communication. So now we're like stepping in the threshold of, okay, maybe there's something we work through in our communication during the retrograde. Now is the time to do the last polishing on it, put the patina coloring on it, and get going and show the presentation. This could be with those who are closest to us, like family, friends, those who make us feel comfortable, make us build a community around us. It feels like a restful Mercury direct. So give, like Auntie mentioned, give yourself those 3 days before and after to really just let things sink in before you put the action out there. If you've been putting off some business ideas or decisions, now is the time to say yes, sign the contract, or whatever it is that came up in your business, to move forward with it as the Chariot does, and see where that takes you.
Great. Well, the next one that we're going to talk about is the Sun in Virgo, Trines Uranus and Taurus, from Thursday the 14th to Sunday the 17th. And this transit, oh, I know what I wanted to add to what you had to say was like, you always talk about 3 days, 3 days, 3, 3, 3, and 3 is the number for transformation. So I just wanted to throw that out there because 3 is such an important, like I always say, like when I send, a client or somebody for therapy, I was like, give them 3 times, at least go 3 visits, and then make your decision of whether it's working or not. Just like don't throw it out right away. See what, although I'm such a firm believer in your intuition, but sometimes, maybe something that frightens us is a thing that we need to face. So that's why I always suggest to give more than 1 try, and actually 3. So getting back to the Sun in Virgo, trining Uranus in Taurus. And this is a transit that brings possibilities for starting new endeavors. You're feeling energized with the Sun positioned in a trine toward Uranus that invites change for the whole collective. This isn't just about me. This is about the collective. And the Sun in Virgo uses her impeccable knack for detail work, giving you the impetus and the motivation to take steps in the endeavor of your choice. So you're seeing these things while you're being, right? You're seeing these things, write them down, so that you remember them. Doesn't mean that you have to jump into them right away until the smoke clears a little bit up there. Remember that Uranus is in Taurus and the Earth Mother rules, okay? So do your part, but be aware that there's a natural progression of things happening in order for a thing to do its thing, right? So I sound very 70s, right? For a thing to do its thing. So you so you meet the Sun and Uranus and know that these, 2 great bodies in the sky, give them the power, give them the respect that they deserve, and they will work with you. Maybe they'll surprise you because they always know better than us as 2-leggeds know, right? We're just mere mortals here, and we think we know, and we think we want, and we think. But there's always something higher, and there's always something bigger than us that is going to influence what happens.
I love that. Thinking about the higher good of things, or what's the highest for us. It's so beautiful. It really puts everything into perspective for this transit. And this transit is such an auspicious time, which is reaching the highest of the higher self, or the highest of things. There's a lot to unpack with this transit, but it comes to us with ease. It allows us to have almost like the spiritual connotation to it, is that spiritual flavor to it that will allow us to unpack the things that we need to unpack during this transit. And there's a lot there that we can look within ourselves to see what changes we're going through and apply that to how we are projecting that, or we are implementing these changes in our own identity as the sun is in Virgo? What are the things that are changing in the ways that we think, or the ways that we speak, or the ways that we speak to the self, and things like that? So this is definitely an auspicious time. Use it wisely, use it kindly, and see what changes come through for you.
All right. Thank you. Wisely and kindly always works, right? No matter what the situation is, but it's not easy to do all the time. So thanks for the reminder.
Yes.
So the next transit that we're going to talk about is Sun in Virgo opposes Neptune in Pisces, and that's on Monday the 18th through Wednesday the 20th. And during this time, my hit on this is that we're going to be faced with the probability, not the possibility, but the probability of some confusion, some deception. For me, the Sun in Virgo is like the antithesis of Neptune and Pisces, right? They're like polar opposite energies. And I think of this saying, it's from one in the Orisha tradition, the Dilogun Irosun, which is 4. And so what it is 4 shells, 4 cowrie. But what it is the saying is no one knows what's at the bottom of the ocean. Okay, no one knows what's at the bottom of the sea. There's so much depth there. And so there's always more than meets the eye. It's like, I think I know, but I really don't know. So I'm walking around like, I know, but I don't know. And so I'm thinking like riptide here. So like the sun is in Virgo. This is the imagery I get. The sun is in Virgo. It wants to float on top of the water. It wants to show its skill, its muscles, it's developed. It's a great swimmer. But there's more going on underneath there. And that, riptide can throw you off your balance, right? But if you go across the riptide, you don't go into it, right? Because you never face the ocean. You always respect the ocean. I mean, you do if you're surfing, but I'm thinking about this more in a spiritual sort of way. So that go along with that energy, knowing that deeper energy exists, and it can make things so much easier for you than to believe, I know, I can flex my muscles, I've got this. There has to be some balance. I guess there has to be some humility there, respect, humility. I'm getting the idea of, as humans, all too often we have this hubris, right? Like, I know everything. Yep. Maybe that's probably one of my issues that I deal with. But, having awareness that there's balance, right? There are things that we see, there are things that we don't see. There's shadow, there's light, there's as above, as below, like these esoteric maxims, all these things that we really know about. And so allow yourself to walk the middle, showing respect in whatever situations come to you at this time, Monday the 18th through Wednesday the 20th. Balance is the key. It's an awareness of walking again the middle distances, being in the middle, not knowing too much, not acting like you don't know anything at all, right? Just kind of like being in the middle, and how you're going to treat that. And then, then we experience on how that treats us, how we treat something, how that treats us. So those are the words that I have for you today on that.
Wow, that's very deep and powerful. I love the kind of like standing in that middle ground, in that middle road of this transit can help us, in addition to that, cut away any illusions that we've created for ourselves, any deceptions or stories we've created for the self that doesn't need to be there, that it doesn't even play a part in our identity or who we are, but we just keep it there. Or even things that we think they're positive, they think that it's okay, but it's just all an illusion. This gives us a spiritual spanking in a way to get to where we need to be, to get back, like T mentioned, to that middle ground. And once we reach that middle ground, I'm going to add this because I think this is so important. Then we can build and focus on our true vision, our true vision in this world, versus what we think are the demands that we are enrolling in. So like those demands can be things that we don't need to focus on, but rather the vision. What is the vision? The vision comes first. I'm getting also with this transit, there's a lot of get out of jail free cards, meaning there's an opportunity for all of us to learn and transform in this transit. That this is, even though it could be a little bit of a challenge, that we have that free space to actually make changes that will help us towards a positive ground. This aspect here is forming a trine with Pluto. So this is really, really powerful and it really shape us in one way or another. So that's what I meant, like jail-free cards with that trine, they're connecting. There's that powerful kind of realization, and then there could be space for transformation that comes with ease, but it all comes with the difficult things, then moving on to the better things. It's very powerful for all of us in different ways.
So if you want to share with what goes on with you, you can always put it in the comment box.
Yes. Or if you have any questions too, things are how it manifests and how to best work with it. Yeah.
So the second to last transit that we're going to talk about is Venus in Leo squares Jupiter and Taurus. And that's Friday the 15th to Tuesday the 19th. And so I think my intellect on what I know about this transit and what I'm seeing about this transit may be a little bit different. So I'm just going to go with what I'm seeing. This is usually our harmonic balance, right? However, I'm hearing that gorgeous, dramatic Venus may have her sights set on something that Jupiter may not be in accord with. You have Leo and Taurus here. Fire and earth may not mix easily. So my suggestion is that during this transit, if you're experiencing that, is bring a little water to the transit. And when I say, water is of the emotions, we don't want to get waterlogged with too much emotion, but we also need to have Venus and Jupiter have the connectivity that only water can bring. So if you find yourself in a predicament over the few days of this transit, imagine a receptacle of water, and you could be that receptacle of water between the two planets. This can be grounding, this can be balanced, and it could be the medium. I think water is the medium for it. But again, I think for me, like the key word is balance here. You have Venus and Leo, dramatic, beautiful, knows what she wants or he wants, right? Or they want, whatever, whoever it is, we want. Squaring Jupiter in Taurus, which is also huge. And Jupiter's in retrograde right now. So also give yourself some time during this thing. But if you're feeling like between a rock and a hard place, I guess is what I'm saying, is just like imagine yourself that receptacle of water, and you can trickle through and get out of whatever that fracas is.
I love that. That water always, as a water sign myself, I'm like, water, give me water. Nurture me with water, right? I'm getting with this transit, in addition to T's ideas, since Jupiter is in retrograde, what Venus might actually want might not be what Jupiter wants, because Jupiter is looking within. So there might be so we can think about Venus and Leo as the outward, because Leo is ruled by the sun. So there's something very solar about Venus here, wanting to project out into the world, wanting to illuminate. And then we have Jupiter in Taurus. Taurus is more of a receptive, more of a let me stand still here, and Jupiter's in retrograde, so it's even more of a like inner. So there is this confliction between the outer and our actions, what we really want versus what we should be doing, which is really taking the time to, I don't know, I'm getting this image of lighting a inner candle for ourselves, an inner illumination. The illumination doesn't need to be outward all the time, everyone. It could be inside. I had mentioned this in last episode. T had mentioned that we need silence. There is some teachings and some wisdom that we can gain in silence. And that's the same kind of idea where you're lighting that light within yourself as a way to express your own illumination within. You don't need to share with everyone. It doesn't need to be showcased. It doesn't need to be put on the walls yet. Take that time. It's like almost like holding something precious or a precious idea. And then when you're ready, then share it. Venus in Leo is creative, wants to just show and tell, but we have to take the time to also do the show and tell within. Though they're in the square, which is challenging, right? There are two benefic planets. It won't be as charged. It'll still be charged, but it won't be as charged as if it were a malefic planet like Mars or Pluto or other malefic planets. So it's going to be a little bit of a pinch, but a good pinch for all of us.
Like that pinch.
Little pinch.
So you just brought up Mars. Yeah. So the last transit we're going to talk about is Mars in Libra sextiling Venus. Okay, there you go. In Leo from the 13th to the 16th. This may be a little bit uncomfortable. It's okay. But, I had the image of the two of them sitting next to each other. They're sidling next to each other, Mars and Venus, right? And Mars says, hey, what have you been doing all of my life? And Venus is like, you must have been looking in the wrong direction because how could you possibly have missed me? I've been here, And these two planets can make fireworks with their sensuality, with their passion, but they have to be on the same page, which they are, depending on how you look at it. And, they can make beauty the resounding factor when the fire ignites. Be aware of any narratives of your heart. And it's interesting because when I first thought about that, I'm thinking your heart in terms of your emotion, but I'm also getting listen to your heart. If your heart starts beating fast, is this a panic attack? Is this angina, where you have those chest pains? Is this a heart attack? Like, listen to your heart during this particular period. I'm not trying to scare anybody because I'm not into that scaring people, power and control bit, but it's just something that I heard right now. And that's why I wanted to share it with you. So from the 13th to the 16th, listen to your heart. It's a temporary pairing. And that's okay, since the planning and the execution of the manifestation of this planning has been transacted by both, right? They're both doing this together. It's not like one wants it and the other one doesn't want it. It's like both of you are engaging. The two sides, that the Mars and the Venus, are engaging together. And that's important. Everyone has their part in what happens. And also, side issue, I received the thought that you might be like even redecorating, right? Transactional as well. So, when I talk, it sounds like, oh my God, something deep. What's going on here? Am I going to have a heart attack? No. I don't mean that at all, but just like be aware. Like I got the thought, like, someone might decide to have their home decorated. And then, so they come in, they sweep into someone's household, they change up the whole thing. But the person has asked them in. And they're paying them for it, right? Where Venus is around, you're going to pay. You're going to pay in some way or another because she's a transactional type of, it's about possessions. She's about business interactions, contracts. And then they part, and they can end amicably. So maybe you didn't like to have that leopard throw on your couch. So you could tell Mars that, or you can wait until Mars leaves and you can fold it up and you can put it in the closet. But, if your Venus is coming through, you're probably going to say, no, I really don't want that, and take that off the cost list of what redecorating. So it can be deep and it can be very light. Although redecorating our homes isn't light, it is deep, because it is something, of ourselves. It's where we live. It's the place that we call home, in whatever that way that is. And again, that's the internal and the external. How much transformation is going on inside of me? Maybe I'm seeing transformation in the outdoors of, in the outside of my physicality, but there's always change going on in the inside too.
sad to T, like the aspect of like, be mindful of an anxiety or like just thing conditions with the heart. I'm gonna add to at this like during this transit to be more focused on the body, like grounded within your body and noticing and readjusting if you start to feel anything in particular doesn't feel comfortable and readjust it to the point where you can feel more comfort. So there's always a possibility, always, readjustment and redirecting energy so we can stand in balance here. With this transit of Mars and sextile to Venus, it offers play, it offers some joy, just Mars and Venus, right? Being Libra and Leo. These are the planets of like hotness, sexuality, and hotness and beauty. So they both coming together to really bring in this connection of joy and play that can be possible. And again, I'm going to go retrograde a little bit back to Venus being retrograde. We learned a ton there. Now it's the time to kind of play light with these two planets in this phase of opportunity. Also focusing on any like new partnerships that come in to help you build your own sense of self or career or business or things that you have in mind that you want to expand on. This could be a good transit. And this transit is also great for any artistic pursuits. Is an opening for all of us to have that as well. So it's like a little bit of illumination, a little bit of opportunity, and it's up to us to choose which gateway we want to go, but always remembering for it to always land in balance and in connection. Yeah, to what we're experiencing individually.
That's beautiful. So before we end, is there anything that you want to add before any thoughts that come to you?
I'm just grateful for everyone for joining into Sabor Astrology. It's always a pleasure to have you. Always, remember to reach out to us. We're happy and glad to assist you in this journey.
Thank you to our Patreon members, and we appreciate you. And let us know if there's anything in particular you'd like to see in your Patreon library, because we're thinking thoughts, right? We're also planning and manifesting and renewing and regenerating in the dark, right? And we hope to bring it to the light. So if there's anything in particular you have questions about, again, you can put them in the comment, you can send us, you have our emails, and all the information is down below. But we do plan to have more content for you very, very soon. And yeah, so thank you for becoming part of us and trusting us. So that's, I guess, what we have to say this week. And again, like, share, subscribe, come back, and we'd love to see you. And yeah, con mucho sabor. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Sabor Astrology with T and Shay. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.